You're listening to Popstar Conversations, taking you inside with your favorite musical artists.
Chuck and I will be sitting here with the incredibly talented Adele. Adele, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Adele, welcome. What makes this album, 21, so different from your first album, 19?
Well, I knew from when I was still promoting my first album that I definitely still wanted to progress a bit with my second record. And I didn't know how much I wanted to. I knew that I wanted to go down a bit more of a bluesier, gospel kind of route, and be a bit more kind of playful and cheeky and kind of sarcastic. But I didn't want to stray too far, obviously, because my fans who enjoyed Chasing Pavements and Hometown Glory and songs like that so much of the first record, you know, I didn't want to lose them. I didn't want to alienate them or anything. So I struggled for a few months to work out what kind of sound I wanted to go for. But also, you know, the first record I come across really serious, you know, and I actually really like trying to be funny and having a laugh and acting like, you know, like a young woman rather than like an old person, you know. So I knew those are the two key things that I wanted to change, and I wanted a few upbeat songs as well.
Adele, we had just listened to your single Chasing Pavements that was off of your first album. Would you agree that the new album has a lot of Chasing Pavement moments in it?
Fire to the Rain's a little bit of a Chasing Pavements, isn't it? Yeah, my best friend, my gay best friend, he was like, when are you going to write me a gay anthem? And I was like, oh, I'll have a go. So then I come up with the title, Set Fire to the Rain, and you can't really get much camper than that.
So would you say it's still about love and relationships? Are you approaching it from different angles and is talking about letting go, being hurt?
Yeah.
Are these first-hand experiences, or are you just playing roles?
No, it's all, my experience yet again. Yeah, it doesn't change when you are successful in your career. It doesn't change at home at all. If anything, it gets worse. But it's about the same things. It's not about the same person. I don't like recycling old loves. Yeah, it's pretty much the same subject, except that, you know, it was my first proper adult relationship that this record's about. It was like proper commitment, you know, like money and everything, sharing absolutely everything in our lives, which was my first time of doing that. And I am more mature in relationships, especially more mature in my last relationship than I was in the relationship of 19. And I realised for the first time, which is something that comes of age, so appropriately, that's why I called the album 21, is that I'm actually not that great a girlfriend. And I used to think I was like the best girlfriend in the world, and I'm rubbish. And I'm really expectant, and I've got so many flaws, and I'm really needy, and I was getting jealous in my last relationship. And I'm being honest, I am the least jealous person I know. Like, I fully embrace everything. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm up for it. I support everything and everyone. But I was getting jealous of like teenage girls, like fancying my fella. Yeah.
We live and learn.
That's the truth. So, what really is the difference between this record and the last record?
That comes across me being jealous of teenagers, actually, in Rumour Has It, which is the second song on the album, which is just, it's comedy. No one should take it seriously, but there's a line in the second verse that goes, she's half your age, but I'm guessing that's the reason you strayed, which is just an exaggerated comment on how I felt.
So Adele, let me ask you, would you say the last record was the complicated boyfriend and this one is the complicated you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. He was also a bit of an idiot, though. He was an idiot, and he brought the idiot out in me.
You know, now that you've been through a couple of nasty relationships, you think that you're a lot smarter when it comes to relationships?
Well, yeah, you know, I know myself better now, like I just said. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I know what you have to put in a relationship to get out of, you know. And also, like, you know, before this relationship, you know, when you're young I'm young anyway, but when I was younger, relationships are quite flimsy, even though they mean a lot. It's still quite playgroundy. Do you know what I mean? You can decide and, you know, go to sleep and then wake up in the morning, oh, I don't want to be with you anymore, and it's not a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this time, I think the main motto I've learned in Wiser is you get what you put in.
Does money buy you love?
No, not at all.
Well, even though it was a really difficult time in your life, it made a heck of a contribution to this record because it's amazing. I wanted to ask you, the first time you made an appearance on Saturday Night Live in America, how significant was it to the change of your career? Yeah, no, that was truly, truly amazing, actually. Just to be part of it anyway, before it turned into what it did that night, was you know, it's kind of an American institution, and Josh Brolin was on it, which was amazing because I'm the biggest Goonies fan. And then I
heard that Tina Fey might be on it. So when I was talking to Josh Brolin on the Friday, and we were like, "I'll be amazing if Tina Fey comes on," because obviously it was so amazing, her impersonation. And then I turned up on Saturday and I saw Sarah Palin, but I thought it was Tina Fey. So I was going, Tina, yeah, behind Sarah Palin. She didn't even notice. But the show was amazing, and I did meet her, but she wanted to come to my dressing room, but like everyone, all my glam squad are gay, and they were like, if she comes in this room, I'm not doing your face for you, because they all hated her. And then everyone else came on it. Alec Baldwin, Marky Mark, everyone came on it. It was truly amazing. And then I just literally watched the album go up on iTunes and stuff. It was amazing.
You've been doing some guest star roles in television. Is that something that you're interested in pursuing?
I don't know. I'd love to. Well, you know what? I mean, I did Ugly Betty, which was quite funny. America, actually, I met America, not America the place, America the actress, Ugly Betty. I met her at SNL as well. She came down with her partner to come and see me. And she was like, "Oh, I'm going to get you on the show. I'm going to get you on the show." And I didn't believe her. I was like, "Oh, all right, well, nice to meet you. Thanks anyway, And then her producers came down to the show and they said the same thing, but I was still a bit like, "Yeah, you won't, but thank you, And then I was on it. And then we've had quite a few offers actually since then for me to be in kind of like comedy and sketch shows and series, but I can't act to save my life. I couldn't even watch Ugly Betty. I was just on the floor cringing. I was so embarrassed. I mean, I was just the girl that you was telling me about. It's like, even though I'm English, I started putting on an English accent. Do you know what I mean? Like, an American person tries to impersonate Russell Brand or something. I started talking like that, even though I'm already English. Yeah, I wouldn't do it again. I mean, I'd do Ugly Betty again, but obviously it's not on air anymore, but I wouldn't do any other ones. And I'd love, if I ever got to performed on SNL again, I'd love to do a little sketch show. Being one of the sketches for that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Your first single off of 21, Rolling in the Deep, it seems like you are basically singing the blues. Is that something that you were looking for?
Yeah, Rolling in the Deep was perfect, actually. I had the first verse, I've had it for about 2 years. Pretty much I wrote the first verse in the back of a cab on the way back from a TV show in Amsterdam, in the back of a car. But yeah, no, it's exactly what I wanted, but I couldn't finish it because I wrote it a cappella, and then I couldn't get to a chorus because the melody in the verse is sort of more memorable than even what the chorus is now. But so I didn't know how to get there, so I just put it on hold and kind of forgot about it. And then I went in the studio with Paul Letworth, who I met when I did BVs on my best friend Jack Pignate's record, on his second record, and he was so much fun, Paul, and he's so exciting. Like, he's got so many ideas that sometimes it's impossible to keep up, but it's so inspiring. Like, do you know what I mean? And compared to like usually your first session with someone's a bit like quiet and a bit awkward because you're both a bit embarrassed to like kind of throw ideas around and stuff like that. I was just straight away into Rolling in the Deep, and it was finished in one session. But I was really got inspired by Wanda Jackson when I was touring in America, and I loved how dirty and spicy and raunchy and, fighting talk all of her songs were, and all of their themes are brilliant, like Memory Mountain and Funnel of Love and like Silk Pillowcases and all that. Like, so I really sort of imagined stepping in, like I kind of imagined what would Wanda Jackson do to this song, and then I think I've portrayed that quite well in Rolling in the Deep. And I was angry, do you know what I mean? I didn't want to write another ballad, I was angry, it was about an argument, the last argument or even conversation that I had with my ex, and he was telling me that my life was going to be rubbish and boring, and I was going to be lonely, and that I was a weak person if I couldn't stay in that relationship, but it was a relationship that I already felt fucking miserable in and really didn't feel like myself in, and my heart was just pounding. I don't get angry very often, so when I do get angry I can feel my blood, I can feel all of my organs and all of my body, and so I didn't want to kind of be like, should I give up? I was like, get the fuck out of my house, you bastard.
Chuck, don't cross this woman. Oh, boy.
There's been a lot of talk that this record has a strong country influence. The way I see it, it's only one song.
I said that in one of my early interviews. I think it was in an interview that I was doing while I was recording the record in Malibu. I was speaking a lot about country because country is a very new part of my life. And my bus driver when I was in America was from Tennessee, and he introduced me to all this country and kind of bluegrass music and made me compilations, and we'd stay up all night while he was driving. Obviously he had to stay up because he was driving, but I'd stay up with him, and we were just kind of listening to old school country and contemporary country and stuff like that, and I fell in love with it. So I was talking about Don't You Remember, which is the song that has got a very Americana country tinge to it, and I think it just got a bit misconstrued and a bit like Chinese whispers, and everyone thinks I've done a country record. But I mean, can you imagine me doing a country record with my accent? But I'm very inspired by the melodies and lyrics in country, and that I've definitely incorporated into this record. I find them so romantic and to the point, so that I've incorporated into it, but not the banjos and stuff, not the stereotypical cowboy hats and all of that.
But you already had a taste in Nashville when you worked with Jack White and the Racketeers, didn't you?
We did work together. We worked together on a song called Many Shades of Black with him and the Raconteurs. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was really cool. And then when I was on tour and I stopped by Nashville, we were going to go in the studio the next day, but I had to do the long journey to Detroit overnight, so we couldn't do it. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm only in Nashville for a few days, but yeah, I'm definitely going to meet up with him, and I'd definitely like to do some writing and stuff with him.
I think that would be very interesting, you and Jack working together. Now, The Cure, the band. Why did you cover them?
Well, I wanted another cover on the album. I knew that as well for sure. Initially, my first choice was Never Tear Us Apart by INXS, just because I love that song. And it was the first song I ever learned to play on piano. And I love Michael Hutchence's voice, and I just love the song. But I think there's a very good reason that no one's successfully covered that song, is because no one can sing it as well as Michael Hutchence. So there is a version by me, probably will see the light of day at some point, I imagine, but probably in about 20 years.
So there is a version already.
There is a version, but it's not on the record. And then so I said to Rick, I don't want to use this one. I can't bond with it. Like with me when I'm singing, I'm really bonded to their song. Anyway, so then we were going through a few other options, and then he was just telling me a story about when he was going to be producing a Barbra Streisand record, but that fell through. But she wanted to do a bossa nova record of covers, and him and Smokey Hormel, who's a guitarist who plays for Beck and plays on a lot of the records that Rick produces and played on my record, played it to me, and I loved it. And The Cure was my first show I ever saw. I was about 3 or 4, and I went to go and see them in Finsbury Park in London with my mum, and my mum was the biggest Cure fan. When he played it to me, it was kind of quite in, like, down the line of the recording process, and I was getting really homesick and kind of quite drained from singing all these songs that are on my new songs on my new record. The song just made me burst into tears, really, and just kind of rescued me a little bit. So it's one take, all of us, me and all the music's just one take. And my voice had gone, which I was paranoid about, but I think it really suits it and stuff like that. And yeah, I really enjoy it. I really love it.
How was it working with Rick Rubin?
He's one amazing producer.
Rick was amazing. It was so overwhelming. It was overwhelming when I met him anyway, before we even started to do a record together. I met him at SNL as well. So SNL really was the most poignant moment in my life, really, in my musical life. And he came down there, and then I saw him again at the Music Cares dinner, which is a couple of nights before the Grammys, and I sang a Neil Diamond song, and obviously he'd just done the Neil Diamond record.
So how was your experience? How did you enjoy recording the record in Malibu?
Well, I've got to tell you, I didn't like Malibu very much. I loved being in the studio, but I wanted to, I was going to stay in Santa Monica. Rick suggested that I rent a house near the studio. It was a lovely house and beautiful studio. Everyone lives behind a gate. You don't see anyone. Nothing's within walking distance. So I was in a car the whole time. I'm allergic to the sun, pretty much. Beach Boys don't fancy me and I don't fancy them. So I was pretty bored when I weren't in the studio.
Well, it really sounds like England is home for you. So let me ask you, what's next for you? We've had 19, we have 21.
45. I'm joking, I don't know.
That's a deal. I'll see you at 45.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again for joining us at Popstar Conversations. Make sure that you click the subscribe button below and hit the bell so that you'll be notified when our next exclusive interview with upcoming artists like Beyonce, Cher, Miley Cyrus, and so many more are available. Thank you again for subscribing.
Thank you for listening to Popstar Conversations. Please join us again for another conversation with your favorite musical artists.